I'm Art Reimer, owner, winemaker, grape grower of Reimer Vineyards Winery. Today we're going to just do a little review or tasting of Galahad. My wife, why is it called Galahad? My wife is more the artistic, and I'm not artistic, and she likes naming as opposed to just a plain Pinot Noir Gamay. And so this is a 2010, and this is about a blend, 20%, 2/3 Pinot Noir, 1/3 Gamay, which is actually very traditional in parts of Burgundy to have Gamay in with Pinot. Gamay is actually a cross of Pinot Noir and another obscure variety. So they are related, they are similar, they grow similar, other than Gamay has the tendency to overcrop and have huge crops, which we try to avoid to get better color, better extraction, more flavor. But we think they marry well together. Besides, I've got a lot of each grown, so I'll have to do something with. And I think it turned out well. Gamay usually gets a little bit more red color, which helps the blend too. Pinot Noir is notorious for difficult color extraction, and the Gamay is not quite as difficult, and it gets a nice, still not a really dark, it's more of a medium hue, not nearly as dark as a Cabernet or a Merlot, but it's more of a cherry, a dark red cherry color. This was all fermented, well, in bins, both the Gamay and the Pinot Noir. We ferment them in small 1-ton bins and push them down twice, sometimes 3 times a day. The skins push them down. And in fact, a portion of it was through a wild or an indigenous yeast fermentation. No yeasts were added to some, a portion, not 100%. And I think it adds something. We're always talking about terroir, and how do you get terroir if you don't use your own indigenous yeasts? If you bring in yeasts from other, like from Burgundy in the case of Pinot and Gamay, or Bordeaux for the Cabernet blends, and not use our own, it's not 100% terroir. Although people say, oh, these are just escapes, from other wineries. The yeasts which we brought over have escaped. Could be. Might not be. You could do DNA analysis nowadays. It can all be checked. And even if that's the case, they do acclimatize and mutate to our conditions. So they do become local, I think. And even the professors at Brock will argue on that amongst themselves, whether they do or not, because nobody's 100% sure. So we say they do. Anyways, and so this was then barrel aged after fermented in the bins, barrel aged for almost a year, not quite, and then we bottled this last year, and so now that's the 2010s, so now we're into 2012. So it's a little young still, but it's been aging now in the bottle for a serious red. It's a little young, but it's starting to come around. It's got a nice cherry, sour cherry on the nose, which is very traditional Pinot Noir. And color, like I said, told you before, this is non-filtered. I don't believe in filtering these. We just, again, time is on our side, really. We've got the time. You leave it age after the barrels went into a tank, and again filtered, racked once more. It drops down, and I think it's just starting to really come into its own now in the bottle. Pinot really gets a bottle shock. Like after I bottled it, I thought, oh no, for months you have this, it's kind of all over the place, the wine, and now it's slowly kind of coming together again. It's like making a stew or cooking something, as the flavors meld together again. I think the color is really nice. I'm really pleased with the color. This is exactly what I want a Pinot Noir. I don't want it darker or lighter, but like I said, it's difficult. Pinot Noir can be a challenge. It's coming around. It'll probably be drinking well in the next few years after some more bottle aging. And this again, they're all organically grown, Pinot Noir and Gamay. When you do them, both of those varieties, I wouldn't say suffer, but they really then have to have lower yields to do it organically. It just takes a little bit more toll on them. But that's again where you get from vines struggling, you get some of these flavors that come through that you wouldn't get in the mass grown Pinots, which are, you know, big tonnages and sprayed to keep them healthy, which you have to do. Pinot Noir is notorious, that's why they call it the heartbreak grape, you know. But I think with the organics, they actually like being grown organically, I think, just at a lower tonnage. They just reward you with less fruit, but better fruit. All right, this was a pleasure.
Thanks, Art.